In this world of magic and mana, Desire was a worthless commoner, and he was looked down upon by the nobles, even though he had the most powerful skill, the magic inverser, that could analyze any magic and break it. But in the future, amidst the chaos and the destruction in the intense battle against the world destroyers, 6 heroes stand proudly, including Desire, in this last fight against the king of the world destroyers. The Dragon King charges its attacks as it gathers mana from the surroundings, but as it shoots at them, it immediately gets dispelled thanks to Desire's inverse magic. The Dragon King is surprised, so it charges another one of its calamity attacks, but it gets dispelled again. Desire informs his party that he has finished analyzing the dragon's magic pattern, and he has sealed away all its power. Knowing this, his party charges at the dragon, and everyone combines their attack to hold it in one place, as the elf girl prepares to land the finishing blow. Seeing this opening, everyone pours all of their magical power into her, and she becomes tremendously strong and deals the devastating blow with immense mana, killing the Dragon King instantly. They rejoice at their victory as they were able to save the world, but are still sad since out of the 150 million people that came with them to fight, only 6 of them were able to survive, a truly devastating loss. Now that the battle is finally over, they sit together as they wait to be teleported back to their own world. They talk about their dreams and what they are going to do with their remaining lives. But Desire just remembers about his fallen comrade, with whom he truly had a deep connection with, who wanted to fulfill her dream of living a peaceful life with him by the sea. But suddenly, the dragon opens its eyes again as it releases a menacing aura. They were truly surprised, wondering why it was not dead yet. The mage finally realized that it is because of the dragon heart, as he had read about it in an old document, that the dragon hearts don't only pump blood, they also store and circulate a vast amount of mana. When the dragon dies, the blood stops, and the stored mana, with nowhere else to go, will cause a huge explosion covering several thousand kilometers, and there is no way for them to escape. Desire tries to use his magic, but it doesn't work since it's not a spell but a pure form of mana. The mage tries to set up a barrier, but with a sad voice, he tells everyone to prepare for the end, and as the explosion occurs, Desire's miserable life flashed before his eyes, wondering if this is really it. But then as he regains his consciousness, he sees himself in a mirror, and he wonders what is going on. As he turns around, he sees his professor named Bridget. She welcomes all the new students to the Hebrian Academy, but informs them of a sad news. Not everyone who has come here will be enrolled in the academy. They will now take a test, and only the top 600 will be accepted. She reveals that the test is to clear the shadow world. Basically, a shadow world represents the worst calamity that humans have ever faced. The shadow world steadily covers their world in a black fog, and once that happens, no living creature can survive in the land that it taints. There is only one way to save the world. Before the fog claims everything, they must conquer the shadow worlds. Back at the academy, the students are worried, wondering how newbies like them can conquer the shadow world, while Desire is really shocked because of the exactly same thing that had happened in the past. Professor Bridget tells them not to worry since this shadow world is an artificial one created for the purpose of the test, and they will hear more from their seniors, who will support them in the process. She finally announces the beginning of the Hebrian Academy entrance exam for the year 3613. Desire finally realizes that he has traveled back in time, but he is really anxious and sad because the battle against the Dragon King started in 3616, and for the next 10 years they fought in that dungeon, but everything was destroyed. He cries in tears, falling on his knees, asking himself what was the purpose of that fight, that hell he went through. What was the whole point of it, if everything gets reshuffled again? Later, as he sits by himself wondering if all this is just a bad dream, his senior, a girl with short red hair, tells him that she finally found him, since he was nowhere to be found in the meeting spot. He apologizes, and the girl introduces herself as Lidoria, a second-year student, and she will be his mentor. Desire remembers that she placed first in the academy back in the past, and she is a genius mage who wields fire magic. As she looks at his information file, she realizes that he is a commoner, telling him that even if he passes the test, he would still be in the beta class. Desire already knows this because this school has a discriminatory practice where nobles are put into the alpha class and commoners into the beta class. It doesn't matter if they have talent or not. This practice crushed the talents of many mages, leading to their ultimate demise in the future. As they proceed to the testing area, a blue-haired moron calls Lidoria's name. Lidoria informs Desire that the moron is a noble named Elheim, and Desire remembers that he is a powerful mage who wields water magic. Sensing the tension in the air, he asks her if she doesn't get along with this moron. Midoriya gladly agrees, saying that she hates him a lot. As the both of them start arguing like always, Elheim gets impressed by Desire's manner of not interrupting their dissing session. Asking his name, Desire introduces himself, and as the blue-haired moron checks his information, he realizes that he is a commoner. He starts talking shit to him, saying that it's expected of Midoriya, boldly stating that there will be no competition at all. As he leaves, he advises him not to take part in the test, or it will be his end. Midoriya is really pissed, and as the announcement informs the candidates to come to the testing site, with fiery eyes, she tells Desire that he must pass the test no matter what. As he reaches the testing site, Desire realizes that if this is really the past, then the girl might be here as well. He tries searching for her but couldn't find her. But as he tries to give up, the girl suddenly calls him, asking why he is behaving so weirdly, stating that he should calm down. The girls turn out to be his fallen comrades that he really cherishes. Desire gets really surprised but is really happy as well to see her. So, he vows that he doesn't know how this happened. But in this timeline he won't let that tragedy repeat itself. He will rewrite the history of the world and will definitely save her this time. As Desire stares at the girl, she confronts him about it. But with a happy face he calls her name, Romantica, saying he is glad that she is safe. She gets confused asking him how he knows her name. He immediately realizes that she still doesn't know him and makes up an excuse that he knows her name from the display board, saying that they are in the same testing group. She is creeped out but tells him good luck as she leaves. Midoriya informs him about the test, saying that he is in Group D. The test is a race in the Arensti Plains in the beginner level of the Shadow World. Thinking that Desire is probably worried, she tells him not to, since it is an artificial shadow world made by the Academy for the purpose of the test. Even if he receives fatal damage, they will simply teleport him to the real world. The blue-haired moron butts in, saying all this means that the use of magic to attack the other participant is allowed. He tells Desire that right now he truly has no way to pass the test, as he introduces his mentee, Azist Kingscrown, a magic knight. And since she is in the same group with Desire, there is no way she will let a commoner like him to pass. Midoriya starts getting worried. After all, Azist is a magic knight, one of the strongest classes ever known. But Desire is really glad to see Azist still alive because she was one of the 6 heroes who died by his side. He remembers that Azist is one of the strongest magic knights in the future and a high circle mage who can wield vision magic, which is impossible even for him to inverse. The blue moron just laughs at the both of them as he leaves, and Midoriya is mad as hell and tells Desire that she knows that his odds of passing aren't great against a magic knight, but she urges him not to give up. The test finally starts, and Desire, with a happy smile, gladly looks at Romantica. As they reach the Shadow World, the system welcomes them, explaining that they would be running and aiming for the goal over there as light starts appearing at the finish line. Only the top 3 will pass, and they are allowed to use magic to attack or interfere with anyone, and if they receive any fatal damage, they will be disqualified. The starting line appears, but Desire looks at Azist, wondering if there is any chance that she has come back to this world with her past memories, just like him. Suddenly, she calls him by his name, surprising Desire, thinking his hunches are true. He asks her how she knows his name. She replies that she had done research on everyone before the test. She informs him that his abilities are as worthless as his face, boldly stating that even if he trains his whole life, he will still have no future. She has noticed that he has been observing her, so she assures him that he does not need to worry because she has no interest in attacking the weak. Desire awkwardly thanks her as the countdown for the race starts. The moment the countdown finishes, Azist dashes so fast with her tremendous physical abilities that she leaves everyone behind. The others, including Azist and Romantica, follow as well, but they are at the last. Desire tries to talk to her, but she starts yapping like a donkey, asking him why he is hitting on her. Desire just nonchalantly smiles at her, stating that at this rate the both of them will surely be disqualified. She gets pissed at his nonchalant reaction to the situation, saying that the face he is making is really annoying and to stop it. Suddenly, Desire senses something, and he pushes Romantica out of the way, saving her life from the fire attack. The caster is annoyed, stating that Desire should mind his own business, but Romantica just attacks back at him with her wind magic, instantly defeating him, with now only 5 participants remaining. She thanks him for the help, but tells him they are even now since she defeated the caster and increasing his chance of passing. Realizing that they are quite far behind, Romantica starts showing her true power by casting a powerful wind magic, Arrow Sweep, releasing a powerful windstorm that blows away one of the participants while causing the remaining participant to stop in their tracks. But Azist just cut through the wind like it's nothing as she pressed on forward. The other participant gets motivated from Azist to press forward, but sadly gets eliminated thanks to the giant tree that falls on him due to the wind. The 2 participants get eliminated due to fatal damage, meaning only 3 participants remain. The headmaster and the professors are impressed with the new candidate's performance this year, especially with Azist the Magic Knight, commenting that she is overwhelmingly strong and she is what all nobles should be, but they are also annoyed since there is a commoner in Group D along with Azist, and they pity him, saying that he will lose miserably. But Professor Bridget is the only one who believes in him. With that, Romantica looks at Desire smiling at him, stating with only 3 participants remaining, they will surely pass now. But she turns cold, stating, did he really think she'd say that? She tells him to drop out because she hates his face. Otherwise, he will be in a lot of pain. Desire immediately refuses, which shocks her since he already saw the power of her magic, and she knows that he is only a commoner. He starts smiling again, which really annoys her, and she starts chanting multiple wind spells and immediately attacks him. She thought he was dead, but the moment she tries to leave, Desire tells her that her spell was impressive, which really surprised her that he is still alive. He starts lecturing her that her spell is good, but she is prioritizing speed. That's why her control is weak, and a slight adjustment to its trajectory, then her spell won't hit. That's how he survives the attack. She gets more irritated at his lecture and starts chanting her spell again. But Desire just inverts all her spells, changing their trajectory again. Romantica is really shocked because Desire is at the lowest circle, and normally only the one with the highest circle can use the inverse spell, stating that it is impossible for him. But as he keeps inversing all her spells, she gets scared of his talent. So, she used all her magic to cast multiple spells, stating that he would not be able to reverse this many spells. But Desire easily dispels all her multiple spells with his inverse magic, shocking her even more. As she gets ready to be eliminated from the test, Desire starts explaining to her that there are 3 things she overlooked. First, inverting spells isn't the only thing he can do, as he uses a basic spell, Grease, on himself to erase friction. Second, she is not the one he has been fighting all along. Third, they are not being tested on magic skills, but on whether they can reach the goal or not, as he chants a fire magic on himself, stating that even if he receives fatal damage here, he won't die. Romantica calls him crazy because even though he won't die, he will still take the damage that will cause him immense pain. He ignores her, and his magic explodes, and he almost reaches the finishing line. Realizing that he will be first, Azist uses her magic, stating that she takes her words back for calling him weak, and she attacks him with everything she has. But Desire takes control of almost her spell, but Azist was fast enough to use her remaining spell to attack him. Somehow Desire manages to dodge all the fatal attacks. Azist is impressed with him, and so, she uses her strongest attack that she currently has, but Desire just uses it to his advantage, changing its trajectory and causing an explosion behind that pushes him forward. As Azist tries to cut him, he tells her that she is too hung up on beating him. That's why she lost. And he easily completes the test and is ranked first. After some time, the other 2 candidates also complete the test while Desire tells himself that they all need to get stronger to overcome the tragedy in the future. The professor assigns the class to the passing candidates based on their test results, magic circles, and family histories. And as expected, these bastards did not assign any commoners to the Alpha class, stating that commoners should just be happy that they get to enroll in the Hebrian Academy at all. The headmaster orders silence, saying that placement is completed, but there has been a recommendation by Professor Bridget that a certain student must be placed in the Alpha class. But sadly her proposal is rejected, and Desire is placed in the Beta class. This does not surprise him at all, but he is just concerned about Romantica seeing her reaction. Romantica is in the Beta class as well, and she is really annoyed because even though she is a noble, she is stuck with the commoners. She gets disappointed at the rundown classroom while the teacher explains about the circle, a system to indicate the hierarchical progression of magical abilities, saying that the lowest circle is 1 and the highest is 7. In the entrance exam, they placed weight in their circle, and to be in the Alpha class, they need to be at least Circle 2. Romantica gets more annoyed because she is Circle 2 and wonders if she did not get chosen to be the Alpha because of that one reason. Being in the Beta class is bad enough, She wonders why she has to be in the same class with Desire, that too, sitting right next to him. And why is he here in the first place since he did defeat the Magic Knight after all? Desire is really disappointed with the corrupt system of the school since the class and rank won't really matter once they face real danger in the future. Earlier, as he meets up with Professor Bridget, she informs him of the sad news, but she is glad that Desire still recognizes her and to see him all grown up as an excellent mage because she is the top fund donor of the orphanage he grew up in. Desire is really determined to awaken all the hidden talents of all the students in both the Alpha and Beta classes of the Academy, in order to prevent the disaster from reoccurring in the future. Later, as Romantica is sulking for being in the Beta class, a noble from the Alpha class introduces himself as Donta. He tells her that he is looking for a party member to join the Blue Moon, the top party in the Academy, which is made up of the top students of the Alpha class. He came here to invite her because he knows that she has excellent skill and a perfect lineage, meaning she is a noble. But in return, she must go out with him. This really surprises Romantica, because he proposes out of nowhere, but he reveals that it was love at first sight, stating a talented beauty like her should not be lumped into the Beta class with those filthy commoners. She tells him to give her some time to think about it, because getting into that party means that she will be easily promoted to the Alpha class. He accepts her demand and gives her a beautiful necklace as a gift, stating that it's a family tradition to gift this gift to someone they are in love with. As he leaves, he tells her that he hopes he gets a favorable answer, as she stands there looking at the beautiful necklace like an idiot. Desire comes out of nowhere, which shocks the shit out of her. She gets annoyed at him again, asking him, what does he want? He tells her it's the same proposal, and with a smug look, she rejects it, stating who would want to go out with an ugly idiot like him. He tells her it's the other proposal about the party, but she tells him that's even worse, saying, why would she choose the party from the Beta class created by a new student over the top party in the Academy? But Desire knows that this was the biggest mistake she made in her previous life. She tells him to get lost if he doesn't have any more business with her. Having no choice, Desire hands her a letter saying that she should read it in private and discard it after that. She laughs at him, stating that it must be some embarrassing confession that he wrote for her. But as he leaves, she reads the letter, and it completely shocks her because it reveals her dark secret that she is a corn star. Later, Desire scouts for another teammate in the training hall, where he sees Pram Schneisser, a blue-haired Twinkie. Desire remembers that in his timeline in the future, this Twinkie was one of the most powerful and fastest swordsmen he had ever known. Romantica finally catches up to him, but as she tries to confront him about her secret, Desire tells her to be quiet because the practice is starting. Desire really wants to recruit him so that he can guide him, and he will become much stronger. She looks at the blue-haired Twinkie and immediately wants him to be her new prey. As the practice begins, Twinkie chooses the longsword instead of the small sword that he usually wields, which makes Desire to wonder why. The training begins. Twinkie immediately charges at the red-haired prick from the Alpha class. He immediately gets overpowered by the Twinkie, but Desire could tell that he is just swinging it around blindly. The prick gets really annoyed by the Twinkie, so he starts attacking without giving him any breaks. But instead of fighting like he normally does, the Twinkie strikes back, creating an opening. This gives the prick a chance to strike his sword away, thereby winning the duel. But out of nowhere the prick starts beating the shit out of him, and even the referee could not stop him since he is a noble. Desire runs to the rescue, trying to save the Twinkie. He tells the prick the match is already over. But the prick tells him to butt out and mind his own business. Desire taunts him, stating he can tell that he is just jealous seeing that someone from the Beta class is more talented than him. The prick gets mad and strikes him, but Desire easily blocks the attack with his bare arm, breaking the sword. This scares the prick, as Desire with menacing eyes tells him that he won. What more does he want? He gets intimidated and leaves, stating that he will remember his face. Later, Twinkie bandages his wound and tells him he is sorry because of him. He made an enemy of someone from the Alpha class. Romantica gets absolutely batshit crazy at his cuteness, seeing the Twinkie crying like this while Desire tells him it's okay. Twinkie introduces himself, followed by Romantica and Desire. However, Twinkie doesn't like the fact that Desire is too formal with him, so he forces him to call him by his name the moment Desire does that. And he blushes while Desire is really worried, thinking, what kind of problem did he bring into his team? As Twinkie leaves, Romantica takes Desire outside to talk about her secret. Turns out her secret was about her being a noble. Romantica family was not noble before, but since they were a very rich merchant, her family bought the title from a poor noble and obtained the surname as Iru. This all happened when she was just 4 years old. That's why her name is Romantica Eru. But sadly the professors knew about this. That's why they didn't put her in the Alpha class, because they think that even if she is a noble by title, she is not by blood. That's why he tells her to decline the offer, because the Blue Moon Party is only open to nobles. Romantica gets furious, saying that she is sure Donto will protect him because he loves her. But Desire reminds her what he said about the commoners, calling them filthy, and if he finds out she is a commoner, it will be the end for her. He asks her again if he would like to join the party, but she lashes out at him, saying that if she won't, then would he reveal her secret to everyone. He tells her he would never do that. If she turns him down, then he will simply have to start with the Twinkie alone. Hearing this, she starts imagining all the dirty scenarios that he will enjoy with Pram, calling it unfair. And she decides to join the party, stating that he is very shady because he knows everything about her. That's why she will join him and uncover all his secrets. At the same time, Twinkie dreams about his mother, who talks about the sword, saying that this was proof of love that his father had given her. She hands him the sword, but it crumbles away, and he wakes up from his dream, looking at the sword and remembers his mom telling him that his father loves them. The next day, the three of them meet Professor Bridget to officially apply to form a party. As they sit there for tea, Bridget asks Desire why he wants to form a party. With motivated eyes, he tells her that he is planning to get promoted to the Alpha class by winning the ranking tournament. All of them are really surprised because it is extremely difficult to pass the tournament, especially for commoners like them. Bridget explains to them that the ranking tournament is an exam to determine the ranks of the students in each grade. It's conducted with Alpha and Beta classes together, and eligibility to participate requires a party of 3 or 6 members. The exam takes the form of a battle between 2 parties, and the winning party rank goes up. Romantica asks her, if that's the case, then wouldn't a party with more members have an advantage? She replies that it's not necessarily, since individual achievements are assessed as well. The key is how much they have contributed to the victory of their own party. All of this is just for the qualifying round. The winning parties will then participate in the final rounds, where the tournament takes place in the Shadow World, and those who place within the top 9 are given the title of single rankers, and if they become a single ranker, they can advance from Beta class to the Alpha class. But with a stern look, she tells them that no one has been promoted before in this manner. It's impossible for them to be promoted. Desire tells her that's why it's worth trying, because what if a party of 3 Beta class members became single rankers? Then it would prove to the professors in the academy that they are all wrong. Professor Bridget agrees because if that happens, then they can trigger an overhaul of the rotten system at this academy. She asks Romantica and Pram if they agree. Of course they agreed, and as they reach their new training room for their party, Twinkie and Romantica gets really shocked because the place looks like a haunted house compared to the rooms of the Alpha class that they saw on their way. As Desire tries to tell them to look on the bright side, thousands of rats start appearing, scaring the nuts out of the both of them. But the rats just run through them as Twinkie falls unconscious with Romantica clinging on to Desire. He tells her that they should get to work to clean the place, but she absolutely refuses, but he just smiles at her, saying that he is dead set on using this space, and so, she has no choice but to agree. Later, as Twinkie wakes up, he looks at the room all cleaned up while Romantica just sits on the chair like she is dead. Twinkie apologizes for not helping, but Desire tells him not to worry about it and calls Romantica that they need to start their training. She gets mad at him, but like always, she has no choice but to accept, and all she can do is complain about his ugly face. As the training starts, he tells her to hit the target he just drew, but she easily hits it with her multiple wind magic. Desire is impressed, but he tells her to hit all her multiple shots in the center of the target. She tells him it's impossible, but he urges her that she should do it. Desire is really confident that she can do it because in the future she can hit any target accurately like a sniper. He mocks her, stating that he will understand that if she cannot do it, but she gets pissed by his face, demanding she will do whatever he says to improve herself. He draws 2 circles and hands her a ball, saying that she should move the ball to the circle over there, but not by throwing it. Instead, she should use her wind magic. She uses her magic but was able to only move the ball but not guide it accurately. However, Desire is impressed because she got the hang of it on the first try and urges her that while her memory is still fresh, she should repeat the same exercise to get a perfect control. She is really happy because he finally complimented her on something that she is good at. Next, it's Twinkie's turn to train, but Desire informs him that there is nothing he can teach him since he is already strong enough to win the tournament. Twinkie gets depressed upon knowing this, but Desire asked him a question. Why did he use a great sword while fighting in the training against the red-haired noble? Obviously, he knows about his fighting style since he is from the future. But he lies, saying that he can tell his weapon should be something much lighter, a rapier, since he can use it to take advantage of his speed. Twinkie panics upon hearing about the weapon, so he asks Desire if he really has to tell him everything. Desire replies he does. Therefore, Twinkie tells him that he should come with him. As they reach his room, Twinkie shows him the weapon and reveals about his father that he was a noble and his mother was a commoner. That's why his father left them to get milk, and the only thing his father left behind is that weapon. Seeing this, Desire remembers that it was the exact same weapon that Pram had used in the future. Twinkie reveals that he learned about the sword from his mother when he was 6, and since then, he has been training in the path of the sword, so that one day when he meets his father, he will be a respectable son fit to wield this sword. But sadly, his mother told him that he should never meet his father because he lives in a different world than them, and his mother didn't reveal the father's name until the end. Desire knows that she is only protecting him because for a noble, a child with a commoner is nothing but a disgrace. Twinkie tells him he enrolled in the academy to find his father since there is a chance he might find some information here. But when he went to appraise the sword in the town, thinking he might find some clues, they told him that it has no value as a sword, and it was not something worthy of a noble man. His father lied to them. Twinkie thought that his father had really loved his mother. That's why he left him the sword, but it turned out to be trash. That's why he will never use that sword again. The next day, as they were training, Desire realizes something, and he comes close to Romantica, which makes her blush like an idiot. Desire remembers that she received a valuable gift, which was a precious metal from the noble guy. So he immediately asks Twinkie to show him his sword again, but Pram reveals he cannot do that since he already sold the sword. So, Desire immediately tells him to show the shop that he sold his sword. Twinkie guides him to a shady alley, and they reach the very sus-looking shop. Desire reads the instruction about the store that there is no refund policy. Twinkie tells him that he never wants to wield that sword ever again, but Desire replies, saying to give him a chance. As they enter the store, a giant black man closes the heavy door, which makes it clear that security is pretty tight. The store owner welcomes them, but states that there is no refund policy, so, are they here to buy or to sell? Desire tells him he knows. That's why he is here to buy the rapier that Twinkie had sold to him. The store owner tells him that the weapon has no value as a sword, but something was off because it was too light, and it rarely comes in this size, but he speculates that it must be chemuvan, a very precious metal. Desire already knows about this, and he reveals that this metal is used by the nobles to give a gift to a lover. The storekeeper further reveals that this gift is like a box with something precious inside it, but unfortunately he couldn't figure out how to open it. That's why he is selling it for 40 silver. This pisses off Twinkie because he sold it to him for 3 silver only, and he didn't even tell him that it is a chemuvan. With a smug look, he tells Twinkie that he only asks him to appraise the sword, not the metal, and besides, this is business.
This is business!
Desire stops Twinkie from fighting, and he just buys the sword and starts appraising it with his magic. After finding the secrets, he tells Twinkie that there is a groove in the hilt. Pull it with his nail, and he will be able to remove the blade. Twinkie takes out the blade and is surprised to see the beautiful shining blade. He can tell that it's neither iron nor silver since he has never seen such a metal. Desire tells him that of course he won't see it anywhere since it's very rare, and reveals to him that it is made from blancium, a highly precious metal that is harder than steel and lighter than a feather. It is used only in the highest quality weapons. As they try to leave, the storekeeper stops them, demanding that they leave the sword behind if they want to live. Desire tells him that the deal was already made, but he replies that he was tricked by not being told about the blanium. Desire tells him this is business, the same way he tricked Twinkie earlier. The storekeeper gets pissed at him, prompting his bodyguard to attack them, but Desire dodges easily. He tries to strike again, but Twinkie, holding the sword, steps in between. Desire just laughs at him, saying, "Didn't he say that he will never wield that sword again?" Twinkie gets cringed out by his own words and starts blushing, but Desire pats his head, prompting him that it's okay, since he finally knows the truth now. As they start fighting, Desire can tell that the sword fits Twinkie perfectly, but his opponent's attacks can be fatal if they hit him even once. Knowing that Twinkie is still inexperienced, Desire wonders if he can win but gets surprised when Twinkie, with a serious face, starts using his mana to enhance himself. The opponent laughs, calling Twinkie a worthy foe, and he decides that he will be fighting him with full strength. He calls him a warrior and strikes Twinkie, but he easily dodges it and attacks him multiple times using his agility. But he doesn't land any fatal strikes since Twinkie is having a problem with gauging the distance with the rapier. As Twinkie tries to strike an opening, he immediately gets kicked to the wall since the black giant has already predicted this. As Twinkie chokes on himself from the kick, Desire tells him to believe in his father. Twinkie gets more serious as he reads the words on the blade that say, "I will bring you victory if you believe in me," and he starts believing in his father. He uses his speed to dodge the attacks and tries to strike from the blind position. But the giant predicted this and baited him. The moment Twinkie tries to strike, the black giant smirks and tries to cut him, but Twinkie doesn't move, which makes Desire almost wet his pants. But to his surprise, Twinkie easily cuts the thick weapon using his thin blade and knocks the shit out of the black giant. He tells Desire that if he didn't believe in his father, he would have never won, and Desire is glad that he finally knows the truth. The storekeeper mocks them, saying now that the giant is knocked out, no one can open the door, but Twinkie simply cuts it, shocking him as they leave. Desire treats Twinkie to some food and apologizes to him for interfering with his life, but he had to do it since they are a party. And when a friend is in trouble, it's natural to help them out. Twinkie cries in tears as he thanks him for everything. He recalls that he had lost so much before he came here, but now he is really happy because he finally found someone who calls him a friend. He thanks both his mother and father, deciding that he will walk this path with Desire, along with the words that his parents had left him. At the same time, Romantica is able to finish his training, and now she can easily hit any target with 100% accuracy, but gets sad since Desire is not there to see her. Later she meets up with Donta to give him the reply. As they sit there in the fancy Alpha class cafeteria, Donta tells her not to be shy and eat everything. But this devouring monster already finished the food, which excites him at her devouring skills. But sadly she hands over his gift and tells him that she has no intention of joining Blue Moon and reveals the truth that she is actually a commoner who bought the title as a noble. His face is filled with disgust upon hearing this, but she just smiles at him, saying that her new party would never look at her the way he just did. That's why she will not be joining him. He tells her he would have never invited her if he had known, and she leaves but tells him that they are aiming to reach Alpha class and they should not underestimate them. His face becomes uglier than your girlfriend's, raging in anger as he remembers how commoners burned his mansion and his family to the ground while he had to be disguised and look at the demise of his own family. This is why he hates commoners and wants to kill them all. As the ranking tournament finally begins, Desire's team easily defeats one opponent after the other, and they rank up further and further until they finally reach the final. As the news about their flawless victory spreads to the whole school, Professor Bridget is really happy, but knows that now all the nobles are going to come after them. At the same time, the advisor of the Blue Moon Party gets really mad since a beta class is ranked within the top 30th place and gets really worried thinking that they may really get promoted to the Alpha class. He shouts at them in anger, stating that they must use any means necessary to eliminate them in the final round. Otherwise, it will be a disgrace to nobles like them. He calls Azist out since she already fought with Desire before, asking if she can win. With a confident look, she tells him that the odds are in her favor. The advisor is happy to hear this since the leader of the Blue Moon is confident to defeat Desire and urges her to make sure she brings them victory. Azist is really motivated for the tournament because Desire was the first person in her life who made her taste defeat, and she is really eager to defeat him with everything she's got. As she leaves the meeting, the red-haired idiot and the ugly rejected moron approaches her, asking to let them be the ones to take down Twinkie and Romantica, as they have personal grudges with them. She tells them to do whatever they want but warns them with a stern look that Desire is off limits. She will be the only one to defeat him. At the same time, Desire meets up with his team and pats Twinkie like usual. Romantica asks him what kind of training they are doing today. He informs them that they are not going to do any training, but instead he takes them to the library. He hands them a couple of books that scare the shit out of them, but they learn that almost all the books are about history, describing the chronology of events, the structure of the previous clock tower, and the history of 1218. Romantic gets really surprised, wondering why they are studying history instead of training. Desire reveals to them that the final round of the tournament will take place in the shadow world prepared by the Academy. Historical incidents of various scales are recreated in those worlds, and if they are able to stop the incidents from happening, they can clear the shadow world. That's why if they have historical knowledge, it will help to clear the shadow world. Romantica realizes that they don't know what incidents and from which era will be repeated. But Desire already knows everything. After all, he is from the future, but just lies to her that he picks certain events at random. Romantica is annoyed, saying, what if his chosen event is wrong? So, Desire tells them, if that's the case, then they have no choice but to read the entire history. But seeing the mountain of books, they start panicking and decide to trust Desire. As they are reading, Romantica notices Twinkie looking longingly at Desire, so she teases him about it since she already knows that they went somewhere together the day before. She forces him to reveal it to her, but Twinkie blushes like crazy and ends up throwing a book at Desire's head, which gets him mad and scares the shit out of them. Just then, Azist appears, coming to their table, and as they wonder what is going on, Desire congratulates her on joining the strongest party in the academy. But she doesn't believe so, since the strongest man in the academy, meaning Desire, is not there. She gets straight to business, declaring war on him and apologizing to him for underestimating him earlier, stating that she will not lose to him again and she will defeat him with everything she has got. Desire is happy because he wants her to use him to get even stronger so that they can change the future. He is really looking forward to that day when he will get to fight alongside her again. The day of the ranking tournament finally came. A huge crowd and many reporters have come to witness the most controversial event in history, stating that a beta class might actually win the tournament. Desire and his party are really excited. Desire even wore a special tie for this glorious event. The two morons are excited to see Desire with a tie. This makes Desire very glad since he can see that they are not nervous at all about the tournament. With that, they head to the tournament where everyone welcomes them with a cheer from the crowd. All the other parties are there as well, but consisting of only nobles from the Alpha class, and Desire and his party are the only ones from the Beta class. The Blue Moon's party member looks down on Desire, saying that a guy like that isn't worth worrying about, even though the blue-haired girl warns him not to underestimate anyone. The announcement begins stating that in order to clear the shadow world, the participant must solve an incident, and they must find out what that incident is on their own and solve it. In the shadow world, they are allowed to use magic attacks, interference, and any other methods. If they receive fatal damage, they will be disqualified. Those who contribute to clearing the shadow world will receive more points, and the top 9 players will receive the title of single rankers. And Desire realizes to be a single ranker. They have to either clear the shadow world by themselves or defeat every other participant there and reach the rank of top 9. The gates finally open. Desire tells his party that they got this, and as they enter inside, they get separated in the shadow world, and Desire realizes that the system has given their location randomly. He needs to find his party as fast as possible, or they might get eliminated. Just then, an ice attack almost hits him, but he is able to dodge it. The blue-haired girl appears from her hiding spot and calls herself lucky that he found him right off the bat. Desire is happy that he is famous and popular among the girls, but she starts attacking him. Desire easily counters her but gets surprised when she starts using 2 spells at the same time. She attacks him with her water spell, but he easily blocks it with his fire spell and wonders why the other spell is a defensive ice spell. But it turns out it was her plan to turn the vaporized water into an ice attack to lock him in place, which really impresses him. But as he counters it, she starts using wind magic and starts yapping that a commoner like him will never be able to wield such strong magic in their whole life. But Desire just taunts her, saying that her aim is off and she should aim right here, pointing at his chest, to kill him. But she couldn't do that since she has no control over her magic, just like Romantica before. So Desire decides to end the match by inversing all her magic, which completely surprises her. He starts lecturing her to never underestimate her opponents and always think about her next step as he charges his ice attacks and launches them at her. She tries to block it, stating that a commoner's magic will never work on her, but the ice crystal spreads at a right angle, attacking her flank instead of heading straight, and she immediately loses, prompting the system to announce that there are only 29 participants remaining.